So this one of the things that they'll be asking is like, hey, if you don't have it, the lightning, there will be a migration assistant. So you have to explain that, hey, there are like three phase: discover phase, rollout phase, and the optimize phase. Using that, we evaluate the functionalities and features, and then we'll be moving or driving towards the adoption of lightning. Okay. And all right. So in order for your lightning to work, if you are in the classic, for example, if you're in the classic, uh, you might be wondering that, it's going to be just a single page application. When you click on this, like this is going to be one single page, all the related list, my task and everything. This is the home page, right? If I'm looking at the account, and if you click on any of the gene point or something, so you can see this account, and these are all the related records, contacts, opportunities, and everything. And the whole thing is about the single page applications. Okay. But if you are in the lightning, the same thing that I'm going to show you in the lightning, for example, when you switch to the lightning experience, when you're in account, like for example, gene point, this is more of a component based. See here, this is a component based. This is one component, this is another component, and this is another component. Okay. Each individual items or the pieces that you see here in the lightning is all a component. It's an individual lightning component. Like even this tab is component, this opportunities, leads, task, files, whatever you see it here, these are all the individual components. So where are the places that you can customize with your own component? You can customize your homepage, meaning you can customize your own dashboard, you can customize your own homepage. For example, your CEO comes, right? Yeah, once the CEO logs in, we have already seen the exercises, how to keep the user source or the scope, right? User data and all those. So if your CEO logs in, I want to display him how he performed uh, in this quarter, and you can provide a little chart like, hey, okay, this is the goal and this is what we performed, and each account made this much profit, and this is the expense that we have done, and gross margin and total profit, and what are all those things. Or for example, like if a doctor logs in, and you can even display like, hey, what are the patients that he is dealing with, and what are the appointments that he has today. Like he must be able to see, like, hey, morning he comes and he logs in, and he should be able to see that, hey, what are the patients that he's going to see, who are the patients he's going to see, and what time he's going to meet them, and he's going to have all these things like, hey, it is related to what and everything. So, and okay, is it a new patient, or is it related to that, like, existing patient, or what is the root cause, or like, what are the conditions he's providing, and all those things that can be provided. So basically it's like customizing the dashboard. When we say customizing the dashboard, like, it's about, it could be it could be even the dashboard, or it could be even the homepage. Okay. Or you can even customize your little tabs. Even the tabs can be customized. I'll show you about like how to customize these tabs, how to customize the layout, or how you can plug in your own component. Those things we will discuss in detail in the lightning. Okay. So basically the difference between the Salesforce Classic and the lightning is more of a component based. Okay. The same thing. Let me see if you have if I have a diagram here. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So we already discussed about this, right? When the client request comes in and there is a Visual Force page, this will be replaced with the Lightning component. Okay. So your Lightning component will be connected to the client, and the Lightning component will be connected to the Apex. So we now we know that how the Apex can be called from the Visual Force page, right? The standard controller or the custom controller, right? We can even create a standard controller, or we can even create a custom controller. How your Lightning component can be connected to the database, and how it can even connect to the web service call, everything will be through the Lightning component. Okay. So it's the same MVC pattern. The only difference is like when we're talking about the Apex, Instead of this visual force, we are going to have the lightning component. When we are talking about the Apex is a controller. There is going to be two controllers. One is called the server side controller. The other one is the client side controller. Okay. So we have the model. Model is nothing but the database. View is nothing but it's going to be the lightning component. When we are talking about the controller, it's going to be of two different types. One is called client controller. The other one is called the server controller, the server side controller. So when we're talking about the client side controller, it's going to be the JavaScript. And the server side controller, it's going to be the Apex classes. Okay, so this is what the difference between the visual force or and the lightning. Okay, so if you see here, okay, what is the preliminary thing to have the lightning working? You have to have your own domain. That's the preliminary thing. That's the most important thing for your domain. If you do not have your own domain, if you do not have your own domain, your lightning will not work. Lightning will not get enabled. You have to have your own domain. That's the key thing for the lightning. Okay, so domain is mandatory for the lightning because they will be delivering the UI components based on the domain. So when we say domain, where can we go and set up? For example, if you go to the classic, and setup, there is an option called, this is part of the admin, but there's an option called my domain, the domain management. Okay, you have to go to the my domain and then see here. So you can even check what is the availability. If there are you can even check here and they'll say that it is available. Okay, so if it is not available, then probably you have to have your own name and then you have to provide and then make sure that okay, when it is available, you can register the domain. Okay, so when I'm saying like this, www.mysalesforce.com, check the availability. So the first step is choose the domain name. I want to choose the domain name. This is the domain name, and then we have to register the domain, and then they will send an email to us. Salesforce will send an email saying that hey, your domain is ready for the lightning. Domain for the testing, and then it will be deployed, and then we should be able to use it. Since I haven't customized my own domain. So if you see it here, so we have been using the default one that comes with the Salesforce. So it is always recommended that you always create your own domain, so that you can have your own URL like this, like dev dot. For example, let me go and create one, Kekalimoti that this is available, right? If you go and register, see, okay, it looks like they have some flaw here. It says that it is available, and then they say that the domain name Kekalimoti is taken or cannot be used. Try another value. Okay, for example, I'm saying okay, training one. Oh, now it is working. Okay, the domain name training one is already taken. Okay, so let me say Chicago Salesforce. This also already taken. See, it's all unique. Salesforce Sunday. Oh man, it's Salesforce 1980. Okay, these are all already taken. Okay, let me say. Okay, I'm registering the domain. Okay, registering your domain, you will receive an email when it is getting ready. So now the domain is getting registered and it's in the pending state, and they will registration takes less than 2 minutes. They will register and then they will send the email, and in the email they will say that, oh, okay, so your domain has been registered. And then moving forward, you don't have to use the specific one. You can have your own domain. You can access your own domain through the Salesforce. Okay, in that way, let's see. In that way, our domain is being created. Okay, so all right, Salesforce course 19. They're still working on it, it seems. Okay, they'll be sending the email. They will be sending the email about, okay, it's still in pending state. Okay, this takes some time to register, and then the domain will be published to the internet. It's in this state. Okay, and then it's ready for testing. We can use this domain, like whatever the domain that we created, we can use it, and from there on we can start using the lightning experience. And this is the mandatory one for the lightning. We have to have our own domain. Okay, all right, so let's see a couple of minutes. Let's wait for a couple of minutes and then see how we can um, use this domain. Okay, all right, so in the meantime, okay, let's go and see, like let's go to the developer console. So the first thing is like we can go and create a new lightning component. Okay, when you want to go and create the lightning component, you see here it creates a bundle. What bundle it creates? So the bundle will be consist of, whenever we create a lightning component, it will create a controller, client controller, and more than that, it will be like aura component. So we are calling the Visual Force component, and the lightning component is the aura component. It's the lightning is built based on the UI framework, which is called aura framework. Okay, aura framework. So when you're having like lightning component, it's a UI lightning. When you're saying lightning component, it's nothing but a aura component, and it will create a controller, and then a client side controller and the server side controller will be created, which is the JavaScript file, and then it will create some documentation files, and also the UI files like SVG file, where you can add your own UI file and all that. Remember, we have been doing all this separately in the Visual Force. We know how to create the Visual Force page, and we have to upload our static resources files, and we have to use the static resources files like JavaScript, CSS. But here, it's all a bundle. It's all each bundled each component in the bundle, or each piece in the bundle, they're all wired together so they can talk to each other. Okay, let's see here. And also, for what you are creating a lightning component, as I told you, the lightning can be created for the tab. I told you, right? So you can create a component and you can have your own component for this. This is the lightning component for the tab. If you're creating a component, you have to specify that, hey, I'm creating a lightning component for the tab. Okay, or you can say that it is for the lightning page. or it is for the record page, meaning lightning page is like, it's like a home page. The lightning record page is like when you have an account, right? This is the record page, for an example. When I have an account, I click on the gene point. This is the record page. This is one record, right? This is a lightning. It's not just account. It could be even contacts, or it could be campaigns. It could be reports, or it could be excuse me, task, or it could be leads. It could be any record. So that's what it's called as a record page. Okay. We can even customize this, the record page. Okay. All right. All right, excuse me. You can even create a record page. So whenever you are saying, oh my God, I got a bad allergy. Okay. All right. So this is the record page. So whenever we are creating a lightning component, we can specify. And in case if you're here, if you're having a communities, if you're having a community software, community is a different license, okay, where you can have a community page. I'll show you like what is the community page. Or if you want to have a quick action, what is quick action? If you want to create a button for save, delete, it could be like anything like this. We can customize these things. These are all the quick actions: creating a new case, creating a new node, creating a new contact. These are all the buttons, right? Quick action. You can create a component for that. So it really depends. It will ask you, why do you need the component? For what you are developing the component. Okay. So you can specify like, okay, so I'm developing a component for the record page, or it could be anything. Today, I'll quickly show you a quick demo of like, to give you overall idea about how the component is developed and how it can be plugged in. Okay. Before we get into the coding of the lightning. All right. So now I'm going to create, okay. Let's take, for an example, the gene point, okay. And this is what the gene point is looking like, okay. Now let's take a look. We go and create a component, and I'm saying that like lightning training one. Saying that account page component. Here I'm saying that record page, because I'm not going to create for the tab. I'm not going to create for any of the page or like dashboard or anything. I'm going to create it for the record page. It could be any record. Let's take an account as an example. Okay. And I'm submitting. As soon as you submit, you see all the bundles are coming. I told you, right? These are the bundles. Like this is the component. This is how your component will be. Why they are asking? We know already, like it has to say that what is it be available for? What is this component will be available for? This component is available for the record pages. It could be for any record. That is why they're asking, where are you implementing this? They're giving multiple options. You can implement you can implement for anything, like it could be a record page, it could be a tab, it could be a home page, or it could be a community page or anything. So in that case, they're going to implement more interfaces. Okay. And then remember, we have talked about, or we have learned about the implementations. Remember, when we are talking about the batch Apex, we learned, because the implementation has like 4 interfaces: execute, start method. If you don't write one method, it will fail, right? Similarly, this implements in this pages, the record home or record page or the record ID. So this is the simple component, lightning training component. Okay, I created. And I told that this is going to be used for the record page. Whatever you see it here, this is a sure interview question. Whoever is asking for the lightning, they will ask like, hey, can you describe what are the bundle components? This is the bundle component, will be as part of the lightning component. As I said, this is the component, and controller will be there. This is a client-side controller. There will be a JS, and there will be a helper class with again another JS. and then helper method, helping to connect the lightning components, the client side, and as well as the aura component. Aura can connect to the apex class also. We'll be talking about it. And then you can use your style is nothing but the css file. See it. So all these are a separate piece. We had it in the visual force, but in the lightning everything is combined together. It's called the bundle, lightning bundle, and they are all wired together, and they can they can talk to each other. And the rest of it also, like the documentations, like you can write the documentations, and you can have your example descriptions and all those things, and you can have your image designs. All of these are the pure documentations. We'll be talking about everything in detail as part of the lightning. Okay. Any questions so far? What is lightning? What are the mandatory things? And what is lightning component? It's a intuitive UI framework, which is called the aura framework. And how can you switch between the classic and the lightning? How you can enable the lightning, and um, how you can create a lightning component. So these are the things that we discussed. Okay, so let's go to the Salesforce Classic. Okay, it's ready for testing. Okay, log in with your domain URL. You can even log in from here. When you click on it, see here, it's like Motilog 1980. He created with our domain, right? So now the domain got changed, right? So this is how you set up your this is how you set up your domain. Okay. So in the develop, you can see what are the lightning components that we develop and all these things. Okay, we'll be talking about what is lightning app builder and lightning components and all that. Okay, and basically the lightning experience is the user interface. So which is much faster. Everything is like the same thing. It gets the data from the database and it's presenting into the UI. The difference is the lightning platform is purely the UI framework, where they are more robust and scalable when they are providing it as a bundle, and it can be integrated together, and it looks intuitive and very rich when you display them um, uh, on the Salesforce platform or Salesforce app. And moreover, it's very powerful. It loads faster with the more latest UI frameworks. Okay, so when you click on this, you'll be able to see, like, check. This is one thing that I thought of showing you. Is your org, we call in Salesforce, like, the instance is org, right? You can even click here to see, like, is your lightning is your org is ready for lightning. It's ready to take the lightning. It will check the readiness, and they will send you the report. Hey, you have this many customizations. These are the things that will be broken, and you have to fix this. So run the readiness check to see if existing features or customizations need attention. You get a custom readiness report with recommended actions. Okay. So whenever you're talking about, like, someone is asking that, hey, what are the things you did? Hey, we did the lightning migration. We used the migration assistant, transition assistant. We checked for the readiness, and then we determined, we got the report and we determined like what are the components that needs to be changed or what are the customizations that needs an attentions and all those things. Okay, does it make sense so far?
Yes, Karthik, clear.
All right. All right, so let's go here. I'm going to the lightning component. I'm just going to type like, hey, this is my first lightning component. Okay, this is my first lightning component. All right. So I come to the Salesforce. Okay, here, see here, the domain is ready for testing. They'll be sending the email. Your Salesforce domain is ready for testing. So this is the login to test. You can log in with this to test and all that. Okay. All right. I'm closing this. And then let's go back to the lightning. You go to the setup. So I say that, hey, okay, here is the lightning component. Okay. These are all the lightning components that I have. I go to the lightning app builder. Okay. Let's create a simple app as an example. I'm just saying that, okay, what are you going to create as an app builder? App builder is something to create an application. It could be an application simple page, or it could be a home page, or it could be the record page. Now our goal is to create one record page. Okay, I'm creating a record page. Next, when you create a record page, you just label the record. Okay, I would say like, lightning record. And then what object you have to create. The record page means you need to know the object, right? Now we know what is object and what is record. We have like various objects, and you will get the record for those objects, right? What object you are going to develop your component. Okay, we chose the account, right? For example. Next. All right, how is your layout is going to look like? How is your layout is going to look like? Okay, so I'm going to say that, okay, I'm going to say this kind of layout I want. I want the header, and then I want the header, subheader, or like, I want just like, the header and 3 regions, or even you can say like, header and 1 region, or header and 1 region means just one pure region. If you want one right side, you can put right side. Okay. Say for example, I'm choosing this layout. We can even define your own layout. You can even define your own template, and then you can have your own custom template here. Okay, this is just a standard layout. I'm going to use it. Finish. See, this is how your layout is going to be. And you can add whatever the component that you developed into here. Whatever the component that you developed for lightning, you can drag and drop. So it is more intuitive. This is the layout, right? I created with one header, one left and one right. You can drag and drop whatever the component you develop. Say for example, we developed one component, right? You can go and see it in the see here, deploy my domain to see the custom components. We are not able to see the custom component that we developed because we haven't deployed the domain. We have to deploy my domain. So these are the things that I was saying that domain is must. This is good that I did not enable it so that you can see it. Because already you might wonder, hey, why Karthik is saying that domain is needed? It's already working. The lightning will be working in sense lightning will be viewable or it will be presentable. But in order to have the lightning to be function, you need the domain. So it is not even able to display the custom component that we created because we haven't deployed the domain. Okay, let me go and deploy the domain and see. Deploy to users. So we have to, only when we deploy, it's a rollout to the new domain to the org. That is when you have to deploy to all the users. Okay, I'm deploying. Domain deployed to users. All right. So now I log out once. This. Oh man, I've been using so many. I forgot the username now for password now. Oh, you have it here. That's cool. All right. So now in the setup, I'm going to see the Lightning, right? Lightning app builder. This is the user interface, Lightning app builder. We are building the app. And then I am creating a new, because we did not save it. That's why it did not get saved. I'm creating a record page. I'm putting a Lightning record page, and I'm creating it for the account object. Next, and I chose this header right sidebar. This one, right? I chose. Finished. It came here. Now if I scroll down, see here, this is the custom one. Whatever I created, this is the component that we created. Previously we saw that it was not deployed. Now it is. Now our domain is deployed, so they were able to bring in and show us the custom component. What happens if I just drag and drop the component here as an example? You see here, this is my first Lightning component. This is a static text. You can even do everything dynamically. You can call the Apex class. You can bring in all the external integrations, or you can show the chart, or whatever the API that you write, whatever the component you can develop, and your component will be available here. And say, for example, I want the record detail to be here. I'm displaying the record detail, and then this is my Lightning component. And then, for example, I'm just saying the related record at the bottom. Okay. Related list. I'm just putting the related list, or even if you just want some chatter or anything, you can even put whatever the component that you want. Chatter feed. If you want somebody to chat on this account, you can have the chatter feeds. See here, this is the chatter feed. Okay. So now we're able to get the feel of what is the difference between the Visualforce and Lightning component. It's so intuitive that you can have so many components developed, and wherever you want, you can just drag and drop, and you can design your own page, and you can even design the page template, right? Currently, when we go here to the accounts, gene point, you see here, this is how the layout looks like, right? You can even customize this layout. You don't need to have like record at the top, related here, and then activity chatter here. Now I customized, right? I have my own component here, and I had my detail here, and I had the chatter coming here. This chatter I brought up here. This is the layout that I developed for my page, right? Similarly, think about it. If it's a HR comes in, we can even develop your own components on the fly. You can load, like, hey, if the HR department people, or this layout should be applicable for the HR people. This layout should be applicable to financial people. And if this, based on the role, based on the profile, you can develop all sort of components, and then you can keep plugging it in based on the profiles, based on the users, based on the login, based on the region they are logging, based on the app that they are logging in, right? You can do all sort of things. Now we're able to understand what this mean by Lightning component, how easily it can fit into the page layout, and how easily you can customize, you can play around, and you can change the design, you can customize, So this is to customize the record page, right? Let me see. I'm saving it now. Saving the record page, okay, and I'm activating it. You have to activate for all applications, or you want to activate for one applications, or you want to make it as a default for your entire org. You can do that. This is the org default. If you want to make it as an app default, you can assign to any particular app. It could be any sales app or service app or anything. Okay. Say for example, I'm just making it as for only the sales. Whereas other applications will not have this account layout. Okay. I'm just making it only for the sales. You can have it. Otherwise, if you want to make it across the org, you can make it as across the org. You can make it as a default. We know what is app, what is record type, what is profile. You can assign this to particular profile. Like you can assign to particular sales and then click next. In the sales, you can say like, hey, this is the record type. Based, we know what is record type, right? Object, each object you can have the multiple record types, right? And then you can even select what are the profiles that you need. These are the profiles, right? I want this to be applicable for only analytics user or only chatter user. You can even do that. So there are various options where you can go and customize it. So for now, I'm just making it as the org default, org wide. For every org, this is what it's going to be, and then saving it. Okay, and then activation. Click on, okay, I already activated. Okay, now go back and open your any applications. Like we made it the org wide default, right? Now I'm going to open the sales as an example. Click on the account, gene point. You see here, our layout came. This is my first lightning component that we wrote. And this is the chatter feed that came. We can collaborate here. Search for the feed, my recent activity, and all this latest post and all those things can be seen. And this is the detail that I put. Now we're able to understand how the lighting is more powerful and how we can organize the data, how we can create our own component, how you can plug it in the template and everything. So this we did not write any code at all. Remember initially whatever I showed you in the Visual Force page, I wrote a simple HTML, right? Here, this is my Visual Force page, HTML. You can write the HTML. Similarly, I wrote without writing any of the HTML, without writing any of the code in Lightning, I created a simple text or simple HTML in the component, and then I plugged it into the record page. And I demoed you the total assembly. You can customize it for the tabs, record page, home page, or anything, how it can be customized. We chose the record page, and the whole layout was defined. Were you guys able to follow me? Any questions?
No, Karthik. Clear.
Is it all clear? Now we're able to understand like how they have created this. For example, lead, right? How they have created this record pages. So these are all the individual components. These are all the individual components. They can create so many components, whatever you want, and then you can design it. Basically, you need the data, you need the UI, and they have the APIs, Lightning component, right? They have their own component. We have the same thing, whatever we have seen in the Visual Force page Apex table, how to create a table, how to create a button, how to create an action, how to create a column, how to sort the column, and everything can be done in the lightning using the lightning component. Those were the Visual Force component, these are the lightning component. And it's the marketplace is so huge, like like Apple App Store or like Google Play Store, people are creating and then putting it in the marketplace, which is the App Exchange. If you just save the App Exchange, they are even creating a lot of components available out of that applications. You can buy it or you can get it for free and then you can use them. So this is the whole idea about the light. Any questions? Was it useful for you guys, this one?
Yes, Karthik.
Okay. Next class, we'll be talking about like, how you can create your component, how you can create your own component. We just don't want to display. How can we create your own record detail page, or how to bring in the data using the the lighting component, how one component can be connected to the another component. Like for example, this is one component, this is another component, right? When you're talking about when you're connecting this has to change the data or something like that. So how one component can be connected to another component, how the nested component can be created. These are the things that we will be discussing. Okay. Now you are able to get the idea about what is Lightning and how it can be customized, what is Lightning component, how it can be rendered in the page layout. Correct?
Yes, Karthik.
All right, cool. So hope this is helpful, and then we'll meet in the next class, and then we'll make progress towards the Lightning. Okay.
Okay, Karthik.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Good night.
Bye.